Kin shook herself from those thoughts as she headed to the Ichiraku ramen stand and saw the various members of the Rookie Nine sitting there deep in thought. Not surprising, since her master had practically changed everything around them, and they seemed to be stumped when it came to Vergil. "So what do you think of Vergil now?" said Shikamaru, as he saw Choji stuffing his face while being unsure. And Ino had hearts in her eyes.
"He's hot, much better than that blonde baka he was before," said Ino, as she was now envisioning him with her, and they got married before having kids. "You're one to talk about blonde bakas, Ino, since you have that particular hair color," said Shikamaru, as he broke Ino from her fantasy, and was rewarded by a fist to the face by the girl.
"Shut up," said Ino, as she now had steam coming out of her ears, and glaring with fire in her eyes at the lazy, now scared Nara. "Well, I find Vergil San's new look to be most hip, and have declared him my new rival." "Yash," said Lee, as he was determined to fight the half-devil and push himself to new heights because of it. "I have to say, this new version, the guy makes him alpha-like material, and I wouldn't be surprised if he got a few hot bitches on the side waiting to help him with his clan." "I know I would," said Kiba with a perverted look on his face that got him punched from both Ino and Tenten. "Hentai," yelled both girls, and they both huffed at the thought of Vergil doing that with some cheap fangirl floozies.
"Somehow I knew that would happen," said Kin, as she made herself known to them, and greeted them all.
"Kin-chan, how are you doing?" said Tenten, as she saw Kin sit down next to her in what was Kiba's now vacant seat. "No complaints. Vergil-sama is out on a mission to bring back Senju Tsunade to Konoha, and Taiyua is back at the Namikaze State training. How are all of you?" said Kin, as she saw Tenten's eyes widen at the name of Tsunade, and became very fangirlish. "Tsunade, Senju Tsunade is coming back to Konoha? That's incredible," said Tenten, as she hugged Kin in a death-like grip, and was thrilled that her idol was finally returning home. "She's the granddaughter of the Shodaime, right?" said Kiba, as he got off the ground, and rubbing his sore jaw. "Yes. Vergil-sama told me that she's going to become the next Hokage of Konoha," said Kin, as she saw Tenten let out a squeal of delight, and Shikamaru slam his head down onto the bar counter, like he had lost a game of chess. "Great! A troublesome woman is now going to be in charge of Konoha. Kami help us all," thought Shikamaru, as he knew from his own experience with his mother that women could be vicious life-sucking monsters when in power from which there's no escape, and the life of a missing nin was much easier. "I can't believe Tsunade-sama is going to be the next Hokage. What do I wear to her coronation? I need to pick something out right away," said Tenten, as she needed to go shopping for something that would get her idol's attention, and bolted out of the bar with Ino running after her to go shopping too. "Nice going. Except for you. There are no chicks here. And now a total sausage fest," said Kiba, who wanted to get near Ino or Ten, so he could silently feel up their legs. "Before running like hell, of course." "Are you saying I'm not a woman?" said Kin, as she glared at Kiba, who let his alpha male pride get the better of him, and held his ground while Shikamaru along with Choji took several steps back. "Not until your half-devil master pops your cherry little slave girl," said Kiba, as he saw Shikamaru palm slap his face, muttering troublesome. And Choji was looking away before an angry Kin gave the Inuzuka boy a swift kick to the groin, making his voice go up several notches. "If and when Vergil-sama wishes to sleep with me is his business, Kiba baka," said Kin, as she left with Kiba still holding onto his family jewels, and Shikamaru telling Choji to never upset a girl whether she be free or a slave. With Vergil several days later. Vergil fought to hide his smirk that so wanted to come across his face as he walked with Jiraiya, Shizune, and Tsunade to the secret meeting place where they agreed to speak to Orochimaru. Vergil could only hope he would have a shot at Orochimaru again, along with Kabuto, since the two traitors had it coming for some time now. "They're here. The air is strong with snake," said Vergil, as he easily could find the scent of his enemies, and saw Jiraiya nod his head since this had been a long time coming. Sure enough, Orochimaru was at the designated spot with Kabuto, and another individual with a sickly look about him. Upon seeing the now much larger than expected group of shinobi, Orochimaru glared at his two teammates, and hissed with displeasure at seeing the half-devil Namikaze.
Tsunade, I see you decided not to help me with condition after all, said Orochimaru, as he saw Vergil smirk at him, and Kabuto move an inch closer to the Sannin to protect his master.
I never said I would, Orochimaru. You just assumed as always that I would be seduced by your poisonous words, said Tsunade, as she saw Kabuto cover his hands in green chakra, and prepared to use chakra scalpels normally used for medical purposes into a means to take life. True, but then again you are so easy to tempt given your addicting gambling nature, and this was one gamble I was sure you would risk taking, said Orochimaru, as he looked at Tsunade before turning his gaze to Vergil, who hit the hilt of his sword with his thumb, and made a come-on motion with his right hand. Less chatting, more fighting, said Vergil, as he looked at the albino looking at him with cautious, calculating eyes, and the aura the man was generating seemed to suggest it was not human. Not entirely, anyway.
Kabuto, you will deal with Shizune. Kimimaro, kill the Namikaze, and bring me his silver-haired head. I'll deal with my old teammates myself. Even in my current condition, they are no match for me, said Orochimaru, as he drew upon his trusty sword from his mouth, and prepared for a fight with the other two Sannin.
You always were full of it, Orochimaru, said Jiraiya, as he got ready to fight his old rival for Tsunade before Dan came around and blew them both away. After today, only one less Sannin will be alive, said Tsunade, as she saw Orochimaru sneer at her, and Jiraiya before getting ready to strike with his swordsmanship skills. Correction, my dear sweet Tsunade-chan. There will be only one Sannin left alive, said Orochimaru, as rushed forward to kill both of them, and become the last Sannin of the legendary three. Vergil found his opponent most interesting, as Kimimaro turned his bones in his body into projectiles, and various weapons to use against him. Yamato easily cut through the projectiles with a few quick strokes before engaging Kimimaro in close-range combat. The bones the albino used for weapons were meant to stab, so all Vergil had to do was dodge what he didn't block with his sword, and made sure to keep a watchful eyes on his enemies' movements, due to their near unorthodox style. You are quite skilled. It's a shame you're not at full strength though, since it's clear you have the potential to surpass your master if you were, said Vergil, as he saw Kimimaro form a bone whip, and was about to attack long range when he began to cough violently with blood, leaving his mouth. Not now. Not when Orochimaru-sama needs me, thought Kimimaro, as he willed his body to fight, and had to drop the whip before leaping back to avoid a slash from Vergil's sword. Damn. Kimimaro's condition is deteriorating faster because he's fighting, and is going to die unless we all escape, thought Kabuto, as he dodged the poison needles Shizune shot at him, and tried to get in close for lethal hand-to-hand combat. Vergil, however, felt sorry for this individual, as this was a warrior of the battlefield he was fighting. Seemed cursed with a medical condition, appeared to be lethal if it were left untreated, and from the looks of things, there was no treatment for this. Dodging a few more projectiles, the half-devil swordsman moved faster. Then Kimimaro could and sliced off the albino's right arm, clean off at the shoulder. Ah, said Kimimaro, as he did a backswing with his left arm with spikes coming out of it. But the was cut off too when Vergil spun around and sliced it off at the elbow. I'm sorry, Kimimaro, but I must kill you, and then your master that you serve. You are a true warrior of the battlefield, so I ask that from one warrior to another I must ask you to forgive me, said Vergil, as he raised his left hand and formed the Rasengan in his left hand before shoving it into the albino's chest. The intense blast of power sent by Vergil to Kimimaro caused him to go flying 20 feet into a nearby boulder, with his cursed seal torn completely off his body. In the end, the albino was still alive, if just an inch from death, as he willed his body to live, and saw Vergil upon him once again with a look of what seemed like pity.
Do not look at me like that. I do not need your pity, said Kimimaro, as he saw Vergil look at him with those eyes, and the albino felt like the half-devil was trying to look for something in him.
I've seen eyes like yours before. So much devotion for a single person that you would die for that individual without hesitation, knowing they would outlive you, said Vergil, as he put away his sword and looked down at Kimimaro's dying body. I was from Mist. When my clan attacked the village, they were all slaughtered while I was the exception since I didn't partake in the attack, making me the last of the Kaguya clan, and was found by Orochimaru. He took me in and trained me to be the best at what I am. His curse seal on me was his way of attaching a part of himself onto my soul, said Kimimaro, as blood flowed out of his mouth, and groaned out in pain.
I see. You remind me of a girl I knew, who was similar in that regard with the obvious difference, but the end result is the same, and I would like to give you a chance to make it up to you, said Vergil, as he pushed back his trench coat sleeve on his right arm, and it turned into his devil bringer.
Help me. Help me how? No one can help me cheat death. No one can, said Kimimaro, as he saw Vergil kneel down to his level, and put his demonic arm on the bloody chest of the albino. You are not normal, Kimimaro, and that's even by bloodline standards. Your aura is part demon, as all bloodlines are descended from, and if you give me your soul, I could make your mind. You would in a way live on in me, said Vergil, as he saw Kimimaro's eyes widen at that. And the thought of doing that was clearly running through his mind. But Orochimaru-sama needs me. I must, said Kimimaro as he struggled to live, and found it becoming harder with each passing second. You are only a pawn to him. Piece on the chessboard that needs moving until your value ends, which seems to be very soon, and unless you take my offer, it will become a fact, said Vergil as his demonic arm pulsed, and Kimimaro grabbed onto the demonic arm. If I do this, what do you gain in having my soul, and why should I even consider it? Said Kimimaro, as he saw the battle behind them still going on with Kabuto, knocking down Shizune temporarily before going to help Orochimaru against the other two Sannin. If you do this, then your powers will go to me on a demonic level, and you will continue to exist. In a sense, of course, said Vergil, as he knew Kimimaro didn't want to die, and saw that the young man wanted to keep his existence going. Very well, I Kaguya. Kimimaro Herbi, give you my soul, Namikaze-sama. Use it and the power behind it with honor, said Kimimaro, as he felt his body finally fail him. And the last thing he saw was a glowing silver-like light cover his body. In fact, the light was so bright around Vergil that it got the attention of the others, as they saw Kimimaro's body turn into a silver orb of energy that went into Vergil's demonic and temporarily blinded everyone around him. When the light ended, Vergil looked the same, except his right arm was now covered in bone, and had demonic-looking blade coming out of the palm. Turning around to face them, Vergil grinned an evil grin that made Kabuto along with Orochimaru very nervous, and they were right to be when Vergil was upon the sound medic Nin in a heartbeat before stabbing the man several times with his new weapon. Do you like it, Kabuto? I call this little number the Grim Reaper, and its purpose is to kill assholes like you, said Vergil, as he struck the medic Nin right between the eyes, and ended the man's life when the blade cut both sides of the brain in half. Unfortunately, the blood caused Tsunade to freeze up and distract Jiraiya long enough for Orochimaru to act in trying to attack her. Jiraiya, acting quickly, summoned a Battletoad with shield and sword that deflected Orochimaru's attack. However, the power-hungry Snake Sannin was not going to be denied, and leaped over the summons before aiming his sword at Tsunade again, only to find himself in pain after being hit by poison-tipped needles on his neck, courtesy of Shizune firing them from her wrist launcher. It's a good thing Kabuto didn't kill you when he had the chance, said Jiraiya, as he saw Shizune limp towards her teacher and try to snap her out of the trance she was in. Indeed, said Vergil, as he took his new weapon and stabbed Orochimaru in the back of the head to make sure the man was dead before going up to Tsunade to deliver a solid punch to her face. What was that for? Said Shizune, as she was shocked along with Jiraiya at Vergil's actions and saw the slug princess coming back to her senses. Waking her up, She's a medic nin and a sannin for Kami's sake. How in the deepest regions of hell can she even be one with the way she acts around blood? How can she even become the Hawkeye with such a weakness? All someone has to do is attack Sunad with a blood clone before ending her life after she freezes up, said Vergil, as he saw the female sannin look at him while rubbing the side of her face he had punched. There are more easier ways to do it, said Jiraiya as he saw Sunad get up and glare at him for that punch.
Maybe, but I know if it was the other way around, I would have been super punched out of my boots, and been told to deal with it just as I am now to her. So shut up. Besides, I needed to give her a little payback for leaving me alone in the village like you did years ago, or perhaps that kick to your groin that sent you 20 feet into the air wasn't enough, said Vergil, as he saw Jiraiya back up, and put his hands up defensively.
Geez, Vergil, when you lay on the guilt, you lay on the guilt, and put in on thick, said Jiraiya, as he saw Sunade get off the ground, and look at Vergil before walking over to the boy. I saw you use the Rasengan against the albino, but I don't understand what it is you did to his body. And your arm, said Sunade, as she saw bones that went around his right arm retreat back, along with the blade, and then turn back into a normal human-looking arm. Simple. As I told Kimimaro, his aura was part demon, and in taking his soul I was able to take his powers as my own on a demonic level. The more I use it, the more that power evolves, giving me new skills, and new powers that are different from the last one, said Vergil, as he saw the group now looking surprised by this piece of information. And the first to snap out of it was Sunade.
Well, since you did master the Rasengan, I have to give you this in accordance with our bet, and in a way, I'm kind of proud of you for doing so. Godson, said Tsunade, as she put the necklace around Vergil's neck, and then kissed him on the forehead in an almost motherly way.
Does this mean you intend to be the Hawkeye like the Sandaime wants? Said Vergil, as he saw Sunade smile at him, and nod before grabbing him by the trench coat, giving him a death glare in the process. You bet, and you better not hit me again or else I'll make you do dranked missions until you become Hawkeye, said Sunade, who saw Vergil smirk, and had to resist hitting him to remove it. And you better be a good godmother or else I may have to go show you why I was the pranking king back in Konoha. That will quadruple your paperwork load, said Vergil, as he saw Sunade increase her death glare before giving up, and sighing while muttering how she needed to get a drink.
She didn't have the strength to argue with him.
Konoha 3 days later. The trip back to the Leaf was fairly easy, as Jiraiya summoned Gamabunta, and after a good beating on the super pervert by the Toad Boss for what he did to Minato's son before taking them back to the village. To see Konoha again brought back bad memories for Tsunade, but she knew that this place also held bad memories for Vergil too when he was just a boy. And she wasn't around to protect him. The people were also shocked to see the Slug Princess back in Konoha, with many believing she had done what the Sandaime had failed to do, and Rain and the QB brat thinking the necklace the half-devil now wore was some kind of leash. I can't believe these people. I wonder what it was your father saw that made them want to defend this village, said Sunade, as she had seen the hate-filled looks, and knew they were aimed at Vergil. You and me both. Doesn't matter now, though. You're going to be in charge with the old man helping you out with the politics and telling you who to trust, said Vergil, as they made it to the Hawkeye Tower, and saw the old man relaxing while reading a certain orange book that made Sunade quite upset at seeing. I see now how Jiraiya got away with his peeping for so many years, said Sunade, as she saw the Sandaime scramble to hide the book and blush in embarrassment. Oh, Sunade, you're back and so are the others. I half expected you to bring back Jiraiya in a full-body cast for trying to peep on you, said the Sandaime, as he saw them sweat drop at his words, and Vergil let out a small laugh at that comment. Very funny, Sensei. But now that I'm back, I expect to be brought up to speed with my godson, and just what possessed you to let things get so bad while I was away, said Sunade, as she saw the Hawkeye sigh in shame, and motioned her to sit down so he could tell her the entire story.
Vergil, not caring for this however, left to head back to his estates to see how his two slaves were doing, and hope they had behaved themselves while he was gone.
Namikaze's estates 15 minutes later. I hate doing these fucking chores, yelled Tayuya, as she had been doing some chores that she couldn't sweet talk or curse her way out of doing. Please try to calm down, Tayuya-chan. I know doing some housework seems degrading, but considering the alternative we could be in right now, I prefer this easily, and it's not like we're not allowed to continue our shinobi training. Kurenai-sensei was even able to teach us a few jutsus she knows outside of genjutsu, and that strange spandex-wearing guy even said wearing weights would help too, said Kin, as she wore ankle bracelets even now, and wrist bracelets that had weight seals on them to make them. Don't remind me of that weirdo, as his hugging of that tinier version of him made me want to puke, and I had to deal with sneering assholes along with perverts that wanted to get into my pants thinking I would just submit because I'm a slave, said Tayuya, as she had to deal with a few assholes that wanted to teach her a lesson for siding with the snake Sanin, and then being the slave of the Kyubi brat like it was some Haro curse. Don't worry about it, Tayuya-chan. They are fools that will soon be put in their place, said Vergil as he entered his home, and saw the two girls look up from their duties to see their master had finally returned. Vergil-sama, said Kin, as she rushed over to him and gave him a bone-crushing hug, while Tayuya just waved since she wasn't much for the whole giving affection to others thing. Hello, you two. Have you been good while I was away? Learning anything useful from your sensei? Said Vergil as he saw Kin nod, and so did Tayuya, though she was silently mumbling about queer men in green spandex making her want to puke out 2 weeks' worth of food from her stomach. You will have to excuse Tayuya-chan for her words, Vergil-sama. We met Mato Guy and his student Rock Lee while you were gone for physical training, and they performed a very disturbing genjutsu, said Kin, as she breathed in her master's scent, and barely held back the moan from the sensation of it. Oh please, Kin just wants to do the physical training so you can have stamina needed to fuck your brains out, said Tayyu, as she ignored the eep sound made by Kin and the blush on the girl's face. Really? Said Vergil, as he saw Kin's face going cherry red, and her looking at Tayuya with an angry face before looking back her master with embarrassment. Don't listen to her, Vergil-sama. She's just jealous because I'm here, and she can't jump you herself, said Kin, as she saw Tayuya go cherry red now, and looking angrily at Kin for that statement. What? Why, you little lying cock-sucking, said Tayuya, as she was about to go on a big foul-mouth marathon. But the glare from Vergil shut her up, and she knew meant she was going to be punished. Tayuya, what have I told you about cursing, and aiming them at Kin or me, said Vergil in a serious voice, and saw Tayuya whimper in fear of the punishment. That it's not tolerated, and I will be punished for it, said Tayuya, as she looked at her half-devil master for mercy, and Kin seemed to have an apologetic look on her face for getting her friend in trouble. Yes, follow me for your punishment. You too, Kin-chan. Don't think I didn't see what you were trying to do, said Vergil, as he saw Kin look down in embarrassment, and knew that she had to be punished too. Yet, at the same time Kin was looking forward to it, and was feeling excited about it. Hawkage Tower Council Room. Tsunade-sama, how good it is to see you back in Konoha again after so many years, and to become the Hawkage like your grandfather did years ago, said Koharu, as she greeted the younger woman with a smile that didn't match her eyes, and Tsunade could see it easily. Oh, I do enjoy being here again, Koharu-san, but I find that Konoha has changed a great deal since I've been here last, and a few things are concerning me dearly, said Tsunade, as she wanted to nip this in the bud, and deal with the things about Konoha she greatly disapproved of. Appropriately. Concerning you? How so? Said Homura as he saw the woman smirk at him, and it was not something the councilman liked. My sensei has been informing on the past 12 years of a certain Namikaze's life, and how certain individuals have been doing everything in their power to usurp the Yondame's dying wish in seeing his son be a hero. That, and you've been spoiling an unstable Uchiha, who thinks only of himself while not even caring for that of others. Now why would that be? Said Tsunade, seeing the shinobi council pale at that information, and turned to the Sandame with a glare. Sarutobi, how can you speak such lies to your former student, and make us out to be the villains after all the good we have done the village, said Koharu, as she glared at the old Hokage, who glared back, and silenced both his old teammates. Lies? You think I would not keep an eye on you two all this time? You were among the most outspoken in either killing Vergil or turning him into a weapon for Danzo. I myself am guilty of denying the boy. What was his even in my belief it was for the best, but now that the Namikaze heir has returned to his rightful place in Konoha, I can make it up to him and make sure he gets the respect he should have gotten from the beginning, said the Sandame, as he saw his old teammates protesting this, calling him a demon lover and an Uchiha hater of all things. It's clear the demon has poisoned both your minds. I say the decision in choosing a new Hokage should be the job of the councils from now on, and I intend to bring it up at our next meeting, said Hamura, as he was not about to let these two demon-loving fools stop them from keeping all the power they gained from the Yondame's death. You can bring that motion to the next meeting all you want, Homura-san, but you forget that such a law cannot be made thanks to the village charter, and to change it could be considered treason that I would have to report to the daimyo, said the Sandame, as he knew the last thing these two wanted was for the village's actions concerning Vergil to be made known to the feudal lord and be punished for it. If there is nothing else, get out of my sight before I throw you out and need to seek out Shizune for medical attention, said Tsunade as she stomped her foot and made the two former shinobi run out of the room.
That was pleasant, said the Sandame, as he saw his former student reveal a much more gentler smile, and hugged him with tears running down her face.
I'm sorry, Sarutobi-sensei, for everything I have done wrong in my life, from leaving the village that I should have stayed in to help you with to that of my godson, said Tsunade, as she had done a lot of soul-searching, and found her decision years ago to leave the leaf had been a big mistake. Apology accepted, Tsunade, said the Sandame, as he walked out of the room to have a drink of sake with her, and to enjoy the moment. Namikaze's state at the moment. Did you two learn your lesson? Said Vergil, as he sheathed his sword, and both girls pulled up their panties with red faces to match their sore rears before going to retrieve their clothes. Yes, Vergil-sama, said Kin and Tayuya together, as they both got spanked by the flat side of Yamato at the same time, and had to wait until he had sheathed his blade to get their clothes back on. Good. I know the punishment seems harsh, but I do not do this out of malice, and I hope you understand I set certain rules here to show you restraint. Tayuya-chan, I know you like to swear a lot to scare people, but when you aim it at people that you consider your friends, then I cannot condone it. I need to remind you that doing so is wrong. As for you, Kin, I punished you because you baited your friend into breaking my rule on no swearing, and needed to be taught a lesson on that. Since you have learned your lesson, I suggest you all go to the hot springs for a nice relaxing bath to take away the soreness, and reflect on my words, said Vergil, as he kissed them both on their foreheads, and smirked when they blushed at the sign of affection. Yes, Vergil-sama, said the two girls before they headed off to heal their sore butts, and possibly get the rest of the day off. I wish I could show them more intimacy, but at the same time I feel like I don't know how, and I need help on the subject. But who to turn to? All the males are perverts. The women around me will just give me advice that will make me feel submissive, and that's not my nature in the slightest. I wonder how my parents would deal with this, thought Vergil, as he looked back on all the people in his life, and realized there was only one person he could talk to that wouldn't waste his time. Umino, Iruka. Konoha Academy 10 minutes later. Iruka sighed as he watched over the youngsters in his classroom doing their assignments, and not causing a ruckus for once that would make a teacher wish for S-ranked missions with an AMBU unit. However, his mood quickly changed when a certain half-devil made his appearance at his classroom door, and got the attention of the kids in the class. Naruto, said Iruka, as he saw the former blonde enter the room, and the kids going all excited at seeing him. Boss, said Konohamaru, as he got up from his seat and tackled the half-devil who caught the kid and held him in a brotherly hug. Hey, Kanahamaru. Behaving yourself, said Vergil, as he saw the young Sarutobi shake his head. No, and got his hair ruffled for it. No, I'm pulling pranks and making teachers crazy, said Kanahamaru with his two friends yelling out. They do it too, while Hinata's younger sister Hanabi sighed while banging her head against her desk, calling the trio Bacchus. Though like her older sister Hinata, little Hanabi did think Vergil was handsome and would be lying if she said otherwise. That's good. Still, when you aren't doing that, I expect you to be training and getting stronger with your friends. After all, I do expect to be your Jonin sensei one day and train you in everything I can, said Vergil, as he saw the boy looking at him wide-eyed and was jumping around excitedly because of it. Oh, I almost forgot. Iruka, I need your advice on something, but I need to speak to you about it alone. And it can't wait, said Vergil, as he motioned for his old teacher to come follow him, and Iruka looked at his class with, behave yourself or else. While he was away,